Lecture: Dragon Man and Controversies on Discoveries in the Paleontology Community. Driving questions. In human evolution, what determines a new species and where it sits in the human lineage? What controversies arise in the paleontology community over new discoveries and why? Dragon Man skull discovered in northeast China. A recent discovery in northeastern China has shed a new light on human evolution. Questions on whether or not the skull is a Denisovan or a new species have led to controversy in the scientific community. The skull dates back to between 146,000 to 309,000 years ago, around the same period of when Homo sapiens began to emerge. Similarly to a modern human, as well as the Neanderthals, the skull has a brain capacity of around 1,420 milliliters. It has a thick and wide brow ridge, a long mouth and large teeth, and eye sockets of a square-like shape. The age of the individual was determined to be around 50 years, and based on its environment and available resources, such as a large river in the region, it likely had a hunter-gatherer lifestyle and survived as an omnivore. The scientists who have studied the skull conducted experiments matching the skull's characteristics to existing bone fragments within a large database, stating that this may be a new species, Homo longi, Dragon Man, who lived alongside Homo sapiens until its extinction. However, this conclusion has been controversial, with many scientists arguing that this is likely the species Denisovan, of which no intact skull exists, but lived around the same period and within the same regions of Asia. What Dragon Man may have looked like. The two perspectives on the new discovery would shape how we view human lineage. If Dragon Man is a Denisovan, then it is most closely related to Neanderthals in terms of DNA than to humans, which would confirm the current lineage map as it exists. But if this is a new species, it would challenge the existing map by showing that Dragon Man is modern humans' closest sister species, thus suggesting that the split in evolutionary history between humans and Neanderthals happened before the current estimate of 500,000 years ago. The latter would greatly alter how human evolution has been understood. Controversies like that of Dragon Man have been a part of paleontology since the first discovery of a Neanderthal skeleton in 1829. As discussed in a previous lecture, the human species was initially thought of as a hairy and brutish ape-like creature, while another view was that the skeleton was of an ill-deformed modern human. The idea that the skeleton was diseased actually had some merit, as it was later determined that the Neanderthal had arthritis, which is what made it seem so hunched over. Neanderthal man, not ape-like. Interestingly, history seems to repeat itself with similar arguments in the community that come with new discoveries. In 2004, a species of humans was found in a cave in Indonesia, Homo floresiensis, which was determined to have lived alongside humans as recently as 18,000 years ago. What made the find so unique and controversial was their size, about 1 meter tall in height, with surprisingly short legs in comparison to their arms. Arguments quickly arose to explain the peculiarities that this species posed. First, there was the idea that Homo floresiensis is a dwarf variant of Homo erectus, for the following reasons. Species that live in isolation tend to experience a form of dwarfism. This was backed by the unearthing of an elephant that had dwarfism. Second, they shared similar features to Homo erectus. For example, a similar receding chin, wide nose, and large round eyes. Homo erectus, left, and Homo floresiensis, right. One can quickly see the similarities in features. Another proposed argument, similar to the diseased human in response to the Neanderthal discovery, was that the Homo floresiensis were modern humans with microcephaly. The following reasons are behind this perspective. The Homo floresiensis shares some similarities to the modern inhabitants of the region, Pasasar people, in that they have the same receding chin, a somewhat wide nose, large round eyes, and are quite short, being around 1.5 meters in height or shorter. Pasasar woman holding infant. The final prevailing perspective on Homo floresiensis disregarded the theory they are dwarfed Homo erectus, due to the fact that the ancestry of their skeleton places them before the said species, and are instead descendants of the earlier Homo habilis. It seems that with every new discovery, there's always much skepticism, and more interestingly, certain ideas, like a deceased human explaining a species that is morphologically distinct from humans, still arise as they did in 1829, despite obviously being false. This may suggest that there is a normal yet large degree of resistance in the paleontology community to a new and especially startling discoveries. The nature of this resistance may be due to the strong social enterprise of the science, which relies on the voices of many scientists, perhaps than other fields do, such as physics and chemistry, likely due to paleontology needing to rely on often incomplete archaeological records. And so, one of the most effective ways to complete it is to aggregate the findings of as many scientists as possible. This can be seen in how the scientists that analyzed Dragon Man relied on a large database of aggregate knowledge to determine it. However, this is a point for you to think about and to consider what other aspects may underline the large skepticism that exists in the community. However, paleontology has gradually developed over time to rely on more than just the archaeological record. Advances in paleogenomics, the study of complete sets of genes of species, has contributed greatly in placing human lineages at the appropriate points in an expansive timeline. Denisovans, unlike Neanderthals and Homo floresiensis, did not rely on skeleton morphology to determine their origins, because not enough bones have been found to form a comprehensive picture. Instead, advances in gene technology largely drew the picture. Denisovans have been determined to be a sister species to Neanderthals who lived primarily in East Asia, strongly evidenced by the fact that East Asians have the greatest amount of Denisovan DNA, ranging from 4% to 6%. Similarly, studies of the Neanderthal genome have shown they contributed 1 to 3% to the genetic material of the modern European population, painting a picture of where they migrated to and lived. As such, paleogenomics and further advances in the field have greatly contributed to a more accurate and precise understanding of human evolution, one that is much more similar to that of other mammals, whereby human species have split, migrated, adapted to their environments, and gone extinct over time. The social enterprise of the field has still proved successful over time. And so, with advancements in methodologies and technologies, paleontology will grow to present a more complete picture, one that marks human evolutionary history from its beginnings to its present footing, from which questions of what it means to be human and why humans exhibit the aspects they do can be answered from this valuable perspective and thus contribute to the larger scientific picture. Lessons. The social enterprise of paleontology and existing methodologies and technologies determine discussions of where best a human species fits within the bigger lineages. As advances relevant to the field are made, debates over the origins of species are more conclusively answered, and the skepticism that often arises with new discoveries are more quickly proved helpful or an unreasonable response that stems from what the norm of the field is expected to be. References. Thank you.